We are taking you into the news right now with the Fox 45 news feed. It's 11 a.m., a nation in mourning and under new rule. We'll take a look at what comes next following the death of Queen Elizabeth. Topping news here at home, growing concerns about crime in Canton, people jumping into the water to escape gunfire. A local businesses fear the rise in crime could impact their bottom line. And following last week's water crisis in Baltimore, what is being done to make sure that it doesn't happen again? The new hearing that is set to address the breakdown in communication. Fox 45 News Midday starts now.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News Midday.
Thanks for joining us for Fox 45 News Midday. I'm Patrice Sanders. Happening today, City Councilman Eric Costello plans to introduce a proposal demanding a hearing about the recent water crisis in West Baltimore. DPW discovered E. coli in the water last weekend, but didn't alert the public until the following Monday.
To get into, the entire timeline around this event, what went wrong, what went right, and how we're going to ensure that the things that went wrong aren't going to happen again. There's no scenario in which any of that is okay, or in which DPW is tweeting at, 7 in the morning on Labor Day and is not putting out, follow-up communication until 9.5 hours later.
Now, the level of confidence in the city following the water crisis remains low, and city council members are now working to get answers. Shannon Lilly takes a closer look at the breakdown of communication. Shannon.
And as you mentioned, we are learning the resolution for that Thursday hearing could be introduced as early as today. Councilman Eric Costello says he plans to introduce it in their city council meeting this evening. Meanwhile, a communication expert we're speaking to says leaders need to learn from all of this and avoid making the same mistakes in the future.
What Mayor Scott should have done was say, listen, we made some big mistakes and we're not going to make these in the future. I mean, this is really an administration that is all about protecting themselves from criticism and not addressing the problems for which they are responsible. If I were a Baltimore citizen, I would not feel good about using the water for a good time now.
Yeah, that was Towson professor Richard Vatz that you just heard from. He says leaders need to take responsibility, and he's pointing out some of the mayor's mixed messaging, where you'll remember Mayor Scott initially said he wished the public was alerted earlier, then sort of changed his tune, saying all protocols were followed. Well, those concerns will likely be addressed in that Thursday hearing at 2 p.m. Councilman Costello says this will be an investigative hearing to get answers from the DPW director and other city leaders about their lack of communication and timeline in alerting the public. Reporting in the studio, I'm Shannon Lilly, Fox 45 News, Midday.
We are in weather alert this morning. Meteorologist Amy Aronson is here with a look at the wet day ahead. Amy?
Yeah, we are under weather alert today, and it's mainly because of that flood threat. We're looking at a flood watch that kicks off at 5 o'clock this evening, runs through late tonight, and that's because we're tracking the potential for some heavy rain at times, up to 2 to 3 inches in some spots that could lead to some flooding. Also, severe storms will be a concern, and unfortunately, this all hits during your evening drive. Because of that, I'm giving it the red light. We are tracking showers and storms during that time period. Downpours possible, actually, all the way through late tonight. Coming up in a couple of minutes, I've got an updated look at the timeline of these storms, and I'll let you know exactly what we're expecting behind this weather alert day tomorrow.
Topping world news, King Charles III is pledging to follow his late mother's example of selfless duty. He made the promise in an address to lawmakers this morning before then getting on a plane heading to Edinburgh. There, he accompanied the Queen's coffin to St. Giles Cathedral, where Her Majesty's coffin will lie in rest to allow the people of Scotland to pay their respects. A state funeral is planned for next Monday at Westminster Abbey. President Biden and the First Lady have formally accepted the invitation to attend. Now, the palace has now established a unique opportunity for anyone who wants to pay their respects without traveling overseas. The royal family website now posting an online book of condolence where anyone can send a tribute to Her Majesty. You can see the link right there on the screen. We're also posting it on our website, foxbaltimore.com. 11:04 and trending today. Here's a look at those trending stories. Number one, Baltimore County Police are investigating what they're calling an officer-involved shooting in Rosedale. Police say it started just after 8 Saturday night at the Avenue Shopping Center in White Marsh. They say that's when an off-duty police officer was hit with a car and dragged. Officers tell us they later found the suspects in Rosedale. Police say that's when the suspects tried to ram the police with their car. We're told at least one officer shot at the suspects before they drove away. Officers then found one of the suspects in Baltimore City near Johns Hopkins Hospital. Police say the officers took her into custody, gave her aid, and took her to the hospital. Trending number two, Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby's federal trial will begin 1 week from today. She is facing 4 federal charges, including 2 counts of perjury and 2 counts of lying on a mortgage application. There are a few big steps in the case this week. On Wednesday, Mosby will appear in court for her final pretrial hearing. Jury selection is scheduled for Thursday and Friday. The trial will begin on Monday, September 19th at 9:30 in the morning. Trending number 3, a little bit of a fender bender during Baltimore's Fleet Week. Dick Froderman sent us this video showing a Danish ship crashing into the USS Minneapolis St. Paul. Ooh. A spokesperson with the U.S. Navy says no one was hurt and there was no serious damage. Trending number 4, Ravens fans are celebrating the big win this morning in the season opener. The Ravens took home a big 24-9 win over the New York Jets. Now, the storyline going into this one was about Joe Flacco versus his former team. But when the game started, it was more like the Ravens against themselves. They had to shake off a bit of rust early on, finally getting it together. Lamar Jackson throwing 3 touchdown passes. Leading us to trending number 5, Lamar Jackson disputing ESPN's reporting that he turned down a $250 million guaranteed extension from the team. In the postgame news conference, reporters asked if that were true. He quickly said there was no truth. The $250 million was fully guaranteed, and then he walked away. ESPN actually reported an offer of $250 million with $133 million guaranteed. But instead, Jackson is going to play under his 5th year for $23 million. Download the Fox 45 News app for up-to-the-minute traffic conditions, breaking news, and weather anytime. Just search WBFF in your app store. Wheel of Fortune Live is coming to Maryland, and you have the chance to go for free. The Wheel of Fortune Live tour performance is happening at the Hall of Life Casino in Hanover on September 25th. And all this week, Fox 45 Morning News is giving away free tickets. Watch weekday mornings for your cue to call and win 4 tickets to the show. And then Friday, you could have the chance to win a VIP experience. Still ahead, a groom who got caught watching sports at his own wedding reception. He's at it again, where he got caught watching sports at this time. Plus, making higher education a reality for more families. The new higher income threshold Princeton is establishing for free tuition. But first, tracking gun sales, the major credit card company that is about to start categorizing the sales.
Fox 45 News, winner of 17 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other Baltimore news stations combined.
Taking a look now at your social stream, lots of reaction to this story. Visa says it will start categorizing gun shop sales. It's a major win for gun control advocates who say the move will help track suspicious surges of gun sales that could be a sign of a mass shooting. But opponents have criticized the move, which is already done by MasterCard and American Express, saying it unfairly flags an industry when most sales do not lead to mass shootings. This is the discussion on social media. One person, and it will be ruled unconstitutional now that our Second Amendment rights are being more fully recognized by SCOTUS. I hope the lawsuits bankrupt them just in court costs. Thousands of cheap, petty lawsuits add up for the defendant after a while. Another person saying, why are gun enthusiasts so paranoid about keeping their purchases secret? Are there other things that you've bought that you can kill people with that you are willing to move mountains to make sure no one finds out about? Well, a black pastor who was arrested while watering his neighbor's flowers is suing Alabama police, saying he was wrongfully arrested. Police body camera footage shows officers approaching Pastor Michael Jennings while he was watering those plants and asking what is he doing at the house. He identified himself and explained that he had been asked to water the flowers while his neighbor was out of town. Well, that's when police asked for his ID. Jennings said no. Video shows officers later speaking with the caller who confirms that Jennings was supposed to be watering the neighbor's flowers. Charges against the pastor were dropped in June, but Jennings' attorney says that they still plan to sue the police department. This is what you're saying about that. One person saying, I'm of two minds on this one. He could have retrieved his ID and that would have been the end of it. But the local police shouldn't have arrested him for annoying them. Another person, he was under no legal obligation to show anyone his ID. The police are completely in the wrong here. Princeton University is expanding its tuition assistance programs. The Ivy League school now says students from most families that make less than $100,000 a year will get free tuition. Previously, students only qualified if their families made less than $65,000. Princeton says about 1,500 undergraduates, or about a quarter of the undergraduate student body, will get this aid. Also, under the new policies, which take effect next fall, more scholarship funding will go to families earning less than $150,000 a year. This is what you're saying about that. For the very few who will meet the entrance qualifications, it's a great thing. Another person, Princeton operates one of the largest endowments in the world at $37 billion. A full year of tuition for all Princeton undergrads costs $1.76 billion. Princeton could easily fund 100% of all tuition with merely the interest from its endowment. This move is appreciated, but underwhelming. Well, still ahead, a new warning about breast implants. What the FDA is saying about a possible link between implants and rare cancers.
Look outside. There's blood on the wall, and there's blood strips, leading further down the steps.
Rising crime in Canton is causing concern for residents and business owners. We'll hear from a restaurant owner who fears what the rise in crime will mean for his business. 11:13, you're watching Fox 45 News Midday. We are back with a live look over the Inner Harbor, where today and tomorrow are the last days of Maryland Fleet Week. You have the chance to tour the ships along the Inner Harbor in Fells Point and Fort Covington. This afternoon might not be the best time for that, but you may be able to sneak it in. A disturbing trend. Deadly and non-fatal shootings are up compared to this time last year, and that is even true in areas that once seemed safe. As Olivia Dance shows us, some people in Canton reportedly went as far as to jump into the harbor to avoid gunfire.
During a shooting here in Canton on Friday, witnesses reported seeing people jump into this water to try and escape the gunfire. But this isn't the only violence to strike this area, and now residents want change. Just last month, a 60-year-old Canton father was attacked and murdered outside of his home in the middle of the day. And a month before that, business owners were shocked after a double shooting in Canton Square.
It's still dark, and then daylight comes. We looked outside. There's blood on the wall, and there's blood strips, leading further down the steps.
After the shooting on Friday, officers dispatched to the hospital where a 21-year-old gunshot victim had just walked in. The victim will survive, but police connected his shooting to the scene at Boston Street. And before this recent violence, many considered the Canton area safe, but now some say that the violence shows that crime in the city has no limits. Reporting in Baltimore, I'm Olivia Dance, Fox 45, Midday.
11:16 now, and in your health headlines, President Joe Biden is setting a new goal. He wants to cut cancer deaths in half over the next 25 years. It's called the Cancer Moonshot Initiative. He'll be in Boston today to talk about where the efforts stand. The FDA is warning patients and doctors about unusual cancers found in some people with breast implants. The agency says rare types of cancers have been found in the scar tissue that surrounds the implants. According to the FDA, there are roughly 50 reported cases of these types of cancers in people with both saline and silicone implants. Officials say these rare cases are not the same as previous reports of lymphomas linked to breast cancers and implants. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 4, just a few weeks into the school year, and the city has seen several violent incidents near the classroom. Why school police leaders say decisions from City Hall are preventing them from doing their jobs effectively. At 5, police are pulling back from squeegee corners. Fox 45 News investigates who made that decision and why it's happening. And at 6, a juvenile judge is transferred after Prince George's County leaders accuse him of being too lenient on minor offenders. Why some are calling on Baltimore City leaders to follow suit. You can get Fox 45 News in a flash through your Amazon Alexa or Echo. We now deliver your local headlines and forecasts in less than 2 minutes. If you have an Amazon device, tell it to enable Fox 45 Baltimore. 11:18 now, and to today's talking point, a new survey finds that a big chunk of people are finding it difficult to get back in the gym. In 2020, most gyms closed for the pandemic, and while most are back open now, a new survey finds many haven't made the move back yet. 31% of gym goers said that they're working out less than they did in 2022. Nearly 27% said they don't have any plans to go back. Mark Clark with Be More Lifestyle is here now, and me hiding my head as I am struggling to make it consistently back to the gym.
It's a lot, but you know what, Patrice, there's a lot of factors, though. Like you said, number one is the readjustment of your schedule. Number two, the concept of just breathing in and out and working out in a room full of people, it's changed. I actually have returned, but I can understand why people are hesitant, because just when somebody sneezes or just when somebody's really breathing hard, and, when you're wiping down the equipment, if you can get in your head and be like, you know what, it really does, it affects that. I don't know.
Listen, I wish I could say COVID and fears of COVID were the reason that I have been slacking going back in. It was hard. After you got out of your rhythm, it was hard to get back in it. And then I think a lot of people started doing it at home, which was very effective. I know that's what we did for a long time. And so it was hard to make that transition back in, but I bring my gym clothes to work every day and change and head toward the gym each day when I leave here. Most days I make it, not all the time. Not all the time, but you got to do what you got to do.
I got one better, Patrice. I started getting here, coming like an hour and a half earlier to work out down the street before the 6 a.m. check-in. So let me tell you how long that lasted. 3 days.
Well, see, that would would be nice, but I'm not doing anything earlier than the 1:30 that I already get up.
Oh Lord, 1:30.
That's what time the alarm goes off. So no, that's
Okay,
not happening.
Yeah, but you get a pass, and also you have the most fit person ever in the universe next to you in the morning. So. You know.
But yeah, his fitness does not transfer here. I got to do this work myself. All right, back to the gym for both of us, Mark.
Back to the gym.
All right.
Yeah, we are under weather alert today because of that chance for storms coming this evening. Right now, it's quiet, it's calm, it's overcast, little misty out there while we wait on the showers and the storms. Temperatures will still warm into the very sticky, uncomfortable mid-80s today before the showers and storms move in. Now, that's going to send us a threat for some flooding, but also damaging wind gusts, isolated hail, and even a brief tornado or two. And this is the culprit, this cold front off to our west. What's going to happen is that's going to move into all this warm, juicy air in place across Maryland, and it's going to spark some showers and some storms later on. Right now, not much of anything happening on the weather map, but that's going to change as the day continues. Eventually, clouds break for a little bit of sun. That heats the atmosphere, provides some instability, and this is the result. Some showers and some storms fire up right in time for your drive home. Not great timing here. A messy evening ahead of us. Actually, showers and storms will linger through about midnight, and a few sprinkles will linger through Tuesday morning. It's not until midday tomorrow that we dry things out and cut down on the humidity. Today, we're up for a soaking, about 2 to 3 inches in some spots, and this is the reason why we are looking at that flood threat. We're also looking at the threat for some damaging wind gusts, hail, and even an isolated tornado or two. And because of that, we've got this marginal risk for severe weather, 1 out of 5 on the threat level scale. This means tonight you want to stay weather alert because at any point we could see some strong to severe storms with temperatures settling back into the muggy mid and low 70s. After our weather alert today, we wrap up with a lingering shower tomorrow, and then we've got a really nice stretch coming up. A long stretch of sunshine that will take us through the entire week. Highs in the low 80s each day, plus some cool fall-like nights with lows dipping into the upper 50s and low 60s. And this nice stretch will take us all the way through the Ravens home opener next Sunday.
Thank you, Amy. New York Fashion Week is giving us a look at the newest trends to come. Still ahead, the new licks that we might be seeing more of. And bye-bye booze, the rising trend of young people ditching alcohol and how companies are changing to keep up. 11:22 now on Fox 45 News Midday. 11:25 now. Don't miss this. We've got a recall to tell you about. Kids' earmuff headphones are being recalled because the batteries inside them could rupture, causing injury. The recall covers 31,000 children's earmuffs. So far, no injuries have been reported. The products are sold at Walmart, Sam's Club, and Kroger's. More and more young people are ditching alcohol, and it's causing businesses to take notice. Consumer spending shows that consumer demand for low alcohol and alcohol-free drinks rose to roughly $10 billion from last year. It was $8 billion back in 2018. Now, as the trend continues to take off, bars are expanding their selections by creating non-alcoholic beer gardens, offering mocktails, and serving non-alcoholic wines. Time now for your lunch break. New York Fashion Week is giving us a look at the newest fashion trends, and among them, more genderless clothing options.
I want, in using our line fashion as an inspiration for fathers and daughters, or even and sons, to break the barriers now. Like, this is an opportunity to break those barriers where the rules don't even exist now.
Well, with more designers showing off their unique collections, including the genderless options, the new trend has the potential to take off. Well, that's all we have for Fox 45 News Midday. Be More Lifestyle is up next. Mark Clark back to tell us what they're working on. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Patrice, thanks so much. Dollar General says its customer base is changing to include those making six figures. Yeah, the new trend the company is seeing in inflation changes customers' habits. We'll get into that coming up next.